It's a personal thing to me to freestyle, you know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
you know, when you're trying to get on stage and show off like you can when you really can't, and you kicking all kind of bullshit words, you get caught out there. You know, I've got caught out there a lot of times just saying a bunch of nothing.
That's why I tell all my artists, if you don't feel like freestyling, do not freestyle and go out.
Yeah.
Yes, I am a true MC. I thought I was about to kick a little something, didn't you?
Yo, focus the camera so I can slam it. Fat rhyme down your esophagus. Who's dropping this? This is the lyrical imperial fat lip. Chilling with my fools. No, we not no blood or crip. I don't gang bang. I don't slang no cane. But I got these rhymes when I kick them off the brain. I maintain these rhymes I will sustain. Don't try to mess. You ain't no shit you will gain. I bust your ass in the nose. Looking at me fresh dip. Open the window. Check out my clothes. I got the Nike. I'm not spiky, but I do the right thing. On my nuts, you might swing. But that's alright, cause I kick the shit, keep it tight. Yo, bust that shit. It's dynamite, so I'ma blow it up. Listen to the West Coast shit, nigga. About to throw it up, about to pass the shit to my man Suave. So do what you gotta do, nigga. Represent LA.
Yeah, coming up on stage too. About to represent to you. I got my man Slim Kid Trey, and he's about to bring this shit on your way. Yo, Slim.
The Pharcyde, formed in 1989 with rappers Slim Kid, Imani, Booty Brown, and Fat Lip, also producer J Swift. Today's feature is a rap group that had an unsuspected uprising in hip-hop in that they didn't set out to become stars, but when they did, it's exactly what led to their demise. They also didn't set out to produce a classic hip-hop album in their first try that is considered one of the best hip-hop albums of the 90s. They just wanted to be around music and not wind up bums on the streets when they knew they had the talent to be more. Their songs Runnin and Passing Me By are considered golden age hip-hop standouts that represent the group at its peak and in prime form. I feel if you asked the Pharcyde if they had the chance, would they do anything different throughout their career together, and what would those things be, they'd all scream hell yeah and just about everything. As far as pure hip-hop group, the Pharcyde had it all. The organic start, having met one another through hip-hop dance, leading to actually all moving in together, living, sleeping, breathing, and creating under the same roof. They also had a genius in the making producer J Swift, who in himself could have been one of the greatest piano players ever with the musical background and beginning he had working to craft 15 of the 16 songs on their classic debut. An album that almost didn't release with all the turmoil going on in-house at the time. Either way, in 1992, it did release and was critically acclaimed all over the nation and overseas. It received high marks for it having the right mix of serious bars about relatable topics most people go through, creativity, and humor in a time where hip-hop was not many smiles and tight faces, most rappers playing off being the hardest MC in the game. The group's members all brought something unique, and none seemed like a misfit among the four. Imani had a high-pitched voice that was very unique. Booty Brown, outside his hilarious stage name, also had the high-pitched voice that came in perfectly on a song like Passing Me By that helped make the song memorable as soon as you heard it. Slim Kid was to me the best rapper in a traditional sense in that his rhymes had no high pitch to help its appeal or other distraction from his lyrics, but were always assembled and delivered perfectly and precise, like he had the most experience. He was also the one you'd see and think of the four would have the best chance at a solo career. Fat Lip is my favorite of the group and most real to a fault, but also the biggest detriment to its existence. He was the personality, also the voice on the hook of their biggest song. Did the Pharcyde let stardom pass them by? What happened? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth Music. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. You can also send a super thanks by clicking the button below. Enjoy the video. The Pharcyde is a hip-hop rap group from Los Angeles, California that came together as two separate groups. Imani and Slim Kid were friends that grew up dancing together, while Booty Brown and Fat Lip knew each other prior to the group, Booty being a backup dancer for Fat Lip. Imani brought the four together since he knew all the members except Fat Lip, who was brought on last. They met the final piece to the puzzle, Jay Swift, through a music teacher he studied under, and the ingredients to a legendary rap group was formed. They all moved into an apartment they call the Pharcyde Manor, where they created their first demo in 1991. After hearing the catchy but depressing Passin' Me By, then the fun and timely Ya Mama song that played off a popular way the youth joked with each other in those days, Mike Ross signed the group to Delicious Vinyl, an independent label Ross co-owned. Bizarre Ride to the Pharcyde was released in 1992, with Passin' Me By becoming a top 100 hit on the Billboard charts. Stunt number 1, A Swift Loss. I think the first growth stunt for Pharcyde was losing their producer Jay Swift. Before their first album even released, the group had issues internally over things like production credit and who should get recognition for what. According to Swift, he was the one doing the production work and didn't take well to the members wanting to claim credit for the crafting of the beats, as Swift says he produced entirely on his own. Because of this, he left the Pharcyde and things were never the same. After Swift left, the group were scrambling to find a producer who could finish the album's last few songs. The label grew tired of waiting and wrapped the recording process to hurry the rush of its release because of the buzz of Passin' Me By. Like mentioned, Swift was officially credited for 15 of the 16 songs on the album. According to Booty, 5 to 7 songs were left unfinished that were supposed to be on the album, but due to the turmoil, they weren't finished. After leaving the group, Swift fell heavily into the drug crack cocaine, and from there basically threw his life away, getting deported back to Spain in 2015 after being caught in possession by police. Without their producer that was there from the start and knew their style in and out, the Pharcyde too was never the same. Fat Lip said their music became a lot different. They were doing raves and really going away from being hip-hop. The album would eventually go gold 4 years later in 1996 and was their most successful album to date, the only produced by Jay Swift. They wouldn't find production quite like his ever since, nor would he find his footing in music like he had with the Pharcyde ever after. Later on, he produced for Fat Lip on his debut solo album. Stunt number 2, Losing Members.
As far as the Pharcyde, I was thinking they was whack, and in a certain respect, they was being themselves, no matter how whack it seemed to me.
The second reason the group didn't have the same success was because they lost its members, who some might call the main two characters. The first was Fat Lip. Fat Lip is an interesting person altogether, but his talent and pure love for hip-hop can never be questioned. After the first album, the group eventually began to tour and develop their own individual selves. When they'd return, it wasn't to the same house they all stayed any longer, instead in their own spaces where they were able to cultivate those individual thoughts and feelings. Fat Lip started to really immerse himself into the New York rap scene and began to be influenced by the things Tribe Called Quest or Wu-Tang were doing, and actually began to look up to them, leading to questioning his own group's music. In his own words, he started thinking the funny, humorous rap they were doing was whack and not cool like the East Coast guys. This brought a negative energy to the group as his participation began to lack and tension grew more and more with the other members, particularly with Slim Kid. Slim approached Imani and Booty Brown and informed them they had a choice to make of either he or Fat Lip, who he couldn't work with any longer because he was being too negative. Also around this time, Fat Lip had began doing serious drugs like cocaine and ecstasy and would even brag about it to Imani as he thought it was the cool thing to do. They all planned to meet at Fat Lip's apartment, who also had been thinking what would a solo career be like, and who says the group never came to his apartment, so when they announced they were showing up, he knew something was wrong and that he was probably kicked out the group. In so many words, that's what they told him, and that was that. The group was now 3. For a second, Imani found out Slim Kid also had a solo deal on the table, which he ran with not long after suggesting they kick Fat Lip out the group. They chose Slim Kid, but he went solo anyway. Stunt number 3, lack of commercial success. We all know the name of the game when it comes to the music industry is to move units. Sell albums or singles, ringtones, whatever, as long as you're selling. The problem with the Pharcyde was that they didn't sell enough to match their skill and talent, and it set them up to only release 2 albums together between the 4 of them. The second of which didn't have producer Jay Swift on there. It did have the standout Runnin that made the Hot 100 at number 55, produced by Dilla, and was their last hit song together. But the album as a whole failed to even reach the success of the first. Probably due to they were still on small-time Delicious Vinyl, who couldn't push them like a major label could, and also because of the lack of chemistry they had by then. This is when Fat Lip left the group, and it all unravels since then. All in all, the Pharcyde was and still is a legendary group that produced classics in their days. Because of the challenge it is to manage egos within groups, this one fell short right before they would have really blew up as a household name in hip-hop. They had everything it took except the need for each other, so made the decision to part ways. Dope group from the 90s, but for these reasons, their growth was stunted. Salute, much respect. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth Music, and I'm out.
That was it right there. That was like, you should do your own solo album. Like, all right. That was that.